Hi, welcome to Posca Club. Today we're going to draw in the style of a Brazilian artist called Minhau. Loads and loads of colours, but instead of using a cat, which is what Minhau would usually use, we're going to go and draw on one of my Korp dogs. So yeah, let's get to it. This is the colours that you're going to need for today's video. Essentially rainbow colours. Just go crazy, chuck every single colour you can at it. It doesn't even matter. Sometimes it's easier just to go and grab a fistful of Poscas and see what colours come out and just work with those. Okay, so I'm going for rainbow colours because it is Rainbow Week in the Korp Academy, but I'm also going to back that up with, well, in fact, let me just talk through what these rainbow colours are, just so you know exactly which colours they are. We're going to start off with red, plain old red, then orange, yellow. This one now goes into light green. And then from light green we're going to go to light blue. From light blue to bridge into this violet we're going to use sky blue. So light blue and sky blue kind of really work well together. They're a good like light and dark mix of those bluey colours. But yeah, that's a nice bridge to get us into this violet colour to finish off our rainbow. As far as I can see, Posca don't do an indigo colour, so we're going to stop when we get to violet. This colour is coral pink. I'm going to use coral pink and red in the mouth, maybe in the ears, definitely in the eyes, that kind of thing. So that's why I've brought out those colours as well. So yeah, a bit of coral pink. And then one of the standout features of Minhau's work is these fat black lines that have got really sharp corners on them. So we're going to use a 5M in black to do most of our outlining. Probably even go like 3-4 thicknesses of that 5M. So you probably could even use one of the like a big fat 7M or 7K for your outlining. But then what we'll do is we'll go around the edges with this 1M just to give it that real sharp, crisp finish. Okay. Have you got all of that? So let's get straight in with it, shall we? I'm going to use my thin black pen for outlining. We don't really need to have a pencil for this, but feel free if you want to use a pencil for it, you can do. And we're going to start with a nice easy shape. This character is going to go off the bottom of the page as well. So we're going to start off with a nice easy shape, which just comes up from one side, down for the ear, across the head, up the other ear, and down on the other side as well. Okay. You can, if you want, measure this out perfectly, or you can go like completely wonky with it. It doesn't really matter too much, but let's just put something in to start off with. So up like that, down for the ear, across, up for the other side of the ear, and then down the other side of the character. That's not too bad. You only have to get it roughly right. It doesn't matter if it's not absolutely perfect. Okay, now let's work our way down on this character. One of the eyes I like doing on my Korp dogs is some like angry eyebrows, and we're going to do that with a little line going across and then 2 half circles. Okay, so just about here I'd say let's do a line going across, that's the brow, and then we'll put the 2 half circles in, just kind of find that middle point and just come out from that middle point a little bit. So what do you reckon about there? That looks reasonably accurate to me. I think that'll do. Okay, let's keep on working our way down. We're going to put another curve now. This curve is going to be the top of the snout. So just go from like the bottom of that eye to the bottom of that eye. That's the width we're looking at. But let's go like that. Already I think that's a pretty sharp looking character. Looks a bit cat-like at the moment. So let's try and make it a little bit more doggy. Let's go in with like a bucket shape in here for the nose. Okay, so nice big bucket shape for the nose there. Next shape is for the mouth. Now, one of the features of the characters I do is this like Rick and Morty style mouth that I'm using quite a lot at the moment, and it features quite a lot in my Korp dogs as well. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put like a big sausage shape going all the way across there. You can make it a happy sausage, so smiling, or you can make it a grumpy sausage, so it goes down at the bottom, at the sides as well. Again, you can make it fat, thin, whatever you want. We're going to throw some teeth in as well, though. So I've done a few grumpy characters recently, so I'm going to go and do a happy one. Something like that. That'll do. Again, just roughly in the right place. You don't have to get it dead on perfect. What I am going to do now is throw in some teeth on this character. So if teeth for me is just a bouncy line all the way across I'm going to start at the middle so we can keep it nice and symmetrical. So imagine that line coming from the middle of the nose, look, middle of the eye, middle of the nose. Imagine a line coming down there. You can draw it in even, so you don't have to imagine it. And then starting from there, do a bouncy line out that way, bouncy line out this way. See, I'm going quite big with these teeth. 1, 2, 3 and a bit. But you go whatever size you want, whatever works for you. There you go, look, a couple of bouncy lines, not thinking about it too much, keeping it really nice and simple. Last thing we're going to do, our dog is like perched up on a windowsill or something like that, so let's go and put in a couple of D shapes that have fallen on their back here for legs, paws I should say. Something like that. Trust me, they are paws, nothing else. Okay, that's all you're going to need. That's all you're going to need for that black pen until right at the end of the session. What we're going to do now is we're going to go in with colour. Nice and easy with the colour. We'll start at the top, we'll work our way down. We're just going to put blocks, just loads of stripes all the way down. So you can go whatever thickness you want. You can go really fat, really thin, medium. You can go for stripes going that way if you want. You can go for stripes in a circle. Absolutely anything. Go crazy with it. Try it one way. If it doesn't work out, try it a different way. Just keep on going with it and see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to use my rainbow colours in the order in which they were kind of laid out, just there. So I'm going to start with red. I'm going to hope that by the time I get around to this area that it's not going to be too much in the way of a red colour in there, because I'm going to put red in the mouth. I'm going to put the hot colours in the eyes as well. Okay, so let's start. You could even do this, like you could even just kind of put this bit at the top, just put a little bit of cardboard across to help you kind of manage which bit you need to colour in. So let's start with that red. There's our red stripe. Yeah. Leave it a few seconds, wait till the edge is just nice and dry, and then let's go in with our next stripe. So we're going to go in with an orange stripe. I think it's going to be about there. So I'm just going to whip the line in. So my nib's a little bit messy. Let's just, if ever you get that, if you get a little messy nib, happens all the time. It's when people use your pens and they use them on the wrong kind of paper. If you get a messy nib like that, the only way you can clean it off, just get your fingers in there and pull off all those little fibres that are knocking around. The way you stop it getting messy is, number one, don't let other people use your pens. Number two, don't use the wrong kind of paper. Didn't say at the start of this session, but this sketchbook I'm using here is an Art Gecko freestyle sketchbook made for Posca by Art Gecko. I think it's only available in the UK though. Okay, let's go and do our next stripe. Next stripe, I think about there. Again, look at all the fibres and that. Just get your fingers in, pull off all those fibres. Not entirely sure this is the most opaque. Yellows are never particularly opaque. There you go, there's our stripe. Let's go and colour that in now. One of the benefits of working on white paper is that the yellow will look pretty opaque. If you're working on cardboard, if you're working on any other colour paper, this yellow is going to look a little bit transparent. So yeah, it's always worth investing in one of these Art Gecko freestyle sketchbooks, especially if you're thinking about joining the Korp Academy or doing any of my lessons. I use these books quite a lot. There we go. Now you don't have to use a ruler or a piece of cardboard to get your line straight. You can just freestyle it if you want. It's not going to hurt if you do that. Let's go and try that. That's reasonably straight, isn't it? Now don't forget, when you're colouring in, nice and light. Don't press too hard. Pressing hard is what gives you those indentations in the paint. It doesn't give you that smooth finish. What you might just be able to pick up on there is just a little bit of pilling. Some paper fibres just coming out on the sketchbook there. That's not come from this sketchbook, that's just fallen off the nib from when it was used in a previous project. If you get stuff like that, don't try and rub it off now, just leave it. Even though it's kind of just sitting there waiting for you to, you know, almost taunting you, telling you it's there. Just leave it until it's dry, until you're ready to fix it. And to be fair, you are only ready to fix it when it is dry. Now this one, as we're going through the eyes, this is one where you might actually want to use that ruler to get it all just right. But you know, you're never going to get any better at guessing where lines come in and out and drawing straight lines if you keep on relying on rulers. The only reason I got there was because I had this ethos of never using pencils, always going in with pens. It does mean you make a few more mistakes along the way, but it does mean you get better faster. This is looking pretty nice. Let's keep on going down. We're just going to do the whole character in loads of stripes, and we'll cycle through those stripes because obviously we're going to do sky blue and purple there, so we're going to have to bring the reds back up again in a little while. So where's this line going about here? You see the bit I'm kind of focusing on is you want to leave the eyes white. You want to leave that nose white. This the line that goes across the top of the snout, we don't have to worry about that too much because that's just going to be another line that we'll put in later. But we're going to colour the nose in black, so there's no point in colouring it all in blue just to colour it in black later. You may as well just leave it blank, save yourself a little bit of paint and a little bit of time because you don't have to wait for it to dry then. Last colour. Last colour, let's go into violet. Just want to check violet is working nicely, which it is. Let's go and outline this violet section. Big old section coming up here, so I'm going to use the bit of cardboard here to try and get that line just about right. So yeah, you don't need a ruler, just use whatever you've got handy. Now this is where you kind of want to be thinking about how you're going to continue your stripes. Got a couple of choices. One is you can think like a colour wheel, just going round and round a colour wheel. The other is you can think of going backwards and forwards. So what I mean by that is if you were going round and round a colour wheel, this is kind of where you'd go from this like purpley colour, violet colour, probably back into the red again next. So you're going in a cycle. I'm not going to do that though. I'm going to do this like backwards and forwards. So I'm going to go through all of these colours again, but this time I'm going to go, so next I'm going to put the sky blue on. So we had sky blue in there. Let's bring that sky blue back. There we go, sky blue. Then the next colour was light blue. So you see we're just kind of bringing those colours, we're going back in the reverse order. And now there's a couple of reasons why I'm doing it this way. One, because I think that looks pretty cool to go backwards and forwards like that with the colour tones. The other is because I knew I was getting into the mouth down here, and I knew that I really wanted to use the reds, the red and the pink, coral pink in the mouth. And so to really make that stand out, I knew I needed some cool colours. So I was going to put hot colours in the mouth. I needed some cool colours surrounding it to make sure it really popped out. So that's why you can see it's all cool colours around there. We've got green, yellow, orange. I think what I'll do is I'll do green, yellow, orange, and then do the feet in red. We'll see how that works, shall we? So as I'm getting to this last little section, I'm thinking, right, how many stripes can I fit in? I think I can fit in 3 stripes in there. Doesn't matter if you can't. Just keep on going until you get to the bottom. It's not the end of the world if things are not symmetrical, or if you've got one thin stripe. Oops, now don't do that. Don't do that, which was me just priming my pen on the sketchbook. Always risky. There's always a chance that with your Posca pen what's going to happen is it's just going to puke up a lot of paint, especially if you live somewhere hot or if there's hot weather at the moment. Just chuck out a load of paint, so just be careful when doing things like that. Nearly there with the stripes. What I like about this particular style is if you don't want to, you don't have to worry about thinking too much about what you're doing. You're just throwing on the colour. You know which order a rainbow goes in, or you know which order you've chosen your pens. Just go and chuck these stripes on. Zone out, knowing that when we put these fat black lines on there, it will make these colours really pop out. Nearly there. Well, nearly there for the stripes anyway. And like I was saying at the start of the session as well, just, you know, mix it up. Mix up your colour combos. You'll get to a point, if you're relatively new with Posca pens, you will get to a point where you memorise every single colour. There's only a small handful of colours really, so it's easy to remember each one. But you'll remember the colours, you'll remember your favourite colour combos as well, and you'll just go to them and they'll become your go-to colours and what you're known for doing. Lovely, there we go. Okay. We're now going to go and put some extra colours in the eyes, into the mouth, and into these feet as well. Yeah, again, you can make the feet stripy if you want, just keep that stripiness going on. Or you can do the feet in totally different colours. I think I'm just going to go and work in the eyes first. And so yeah, let's go and grab the red and the coral pink. These are the 2 colours that I really wanted to use for the rest of the features. So we've got all those stripy colours in. Let's go and use these 2 for the rest. So what we're going to do is we're just going to jump into the eye first, and we're going to put in, we're going to have a black pupil. We're just going to outline where the black pupil is going to go. Then we'll put in a red inner iris and then a coral pink outer iris. Okay, hope that makes sense. Let's go for just here, look, Make sure everything's dry before you rest your hand on. Let's go for just there. That's the bit inside there, that's going to be the pupil. Then we're going to go for this red outer pupil. Let's do something similar on the other side. So draw in that pupil. Leave the pupil white for the time being, put in that bit of red, which is going to be the inner part of the iris. Then go and grab the pink, coral pink, or whatever colour you're using. We'll just see a little bit of it coming out here, look. Ideally what we want to do is we want to leave a little bit of the white of the eye showing. It really helps with these eyes if you can show just a little tiny bit of white in there as well. I think that looks good to me. Now decide what colour you want to do your nose. I'm going to do the nose pink. Just that coral pink. Getting into the mouth, you could even add a tongue into the mouth if you wanted to. Should we do that? I don't think I can be bothered to add a tongue, but just imagine if you had like a tongue there, you could do the tongue in the coral pink and the back of the mouth in the red. But yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. Let's just go and put in this fat 5M, getting as close as you can into those edges, knowing that we're going to put in some fat black lines which are going to tidy all this up. So there you go, just getting into the cracks as much as you can. Don't stress too much about it because like I said at the start, one of the characteristics of Minhau's style is these chunky black lines that we're going to add in everywhere. And the good thing about a chunky black line is you can hide loads of mistakes, or not even mistakes, but you can hide loads of hide things behind those black lines, which means that you don't have to pay as much attention to your actual artwork, so you can just go and have a little bit more fun with it. What do we do about the paws? Do we stripe them? Do we just colour them red? I originally decided to just colour them red, so I think that's what I'm going to stick with. And yeah, do whatever you want to do with yours. If you come up with a combo that just looks really nice, then don't forget to share it with me. There's a couple of places you can share stuff nowadays. Busiest place seems to be on my Facebook page, so go to Doodle with Korp or go to the Korp Academy group on Facebook and post things there. Alternatively, if you want something a little bit more private, then I've got the WhatsApp group. There's a Posca Club group in the Korp Academy community on WhatsApp. You can post your artwork in there, get feedback from your peers, but also from me. And then finally there's the Discord as well. You can just jump into the Discord and you know, all the links from my bios, post it in there so we can have a little look. Beautiful. That is looking pretty nice. I like how that's looking. That's exactly what we want at the moment. There's loads of fun we can have with this when we put these black lines in. So are you ready for this then? So let's go and grab that the 5M black. So if you remember what I said we were going to do was we're going to put in some big fat chunky lines with this 5M black, then use the 1M to kind of sharpen off some of those edges. Yeah. What we're also going to do is we're going to yeah, I've forgotten what I was going to say now. This is why it's dangerous. Less talking, more drawing, yeah. Right, let's go and start this then. So let's put that black line. I'm starting over this side because I'm right-handed. Makes more sense for me to start over this side. So this is the third thickness of line. So you could go wonky with this. Normally I'd say do double, triple line things to go double, triple wonky, but in this instance what we are actually doing is we're just seeing how fat we can go with our lines. Yeah, that looks good. Let's keep on going around the top. So we're doing about four thicknesses, 4 strokes to get the thickness of the line just right. That bit at the top, don't worry about that. You're not going to get it much sharper than that using this 5M. So we're going to come back to that using a that 1M. There we go. Now I'm going to stop just there. The reason I'm stopping there is because before doing this bit, I want to get all this face done, because what I'm worried about is if I do that line and then start doing the face, I'm going to end up smudging bits, and you know, we want to keep it as clean and as sharp as possible. Okay, now in this bit I'm going to zoom in a touch, so let's change camera, let's zoom into where those eyes are, and what we're going to do across the top of the eyes is we're going to add in a an L shape. So like this, let's go across the top. And then from there, let's go up. There we go, nice and thick with that L shape. Let's go underneath the eye as well. Probably don't want to go quite as thick as we've got on the outside edge, but you still want to go fairly thick with it. Don't forget that pupil in there as well. Let's do the other side. There you go, reasonably symmetrical. Don't worry about that bit. You see those bits in the middle there? You can expand on those, go a little bit bigger than you really wanted to, like I've just done there, because we will cut those out. Same with the edges there, don't worry about getting them neat. Look at them, the really rough edges. The reason for that is because we are going to cut them all out. Yeah, that's looking good. Let's carry it on. Let's go and do that nose. Remember what we did with the nose? We had that slight curve. Now my suggestion here with this curve is to try as best you can to make sure the curve finishes within one of the stripes. It's got to finish inside one of the stripes, not on the edge or just flicking over the edge, but just on the inside at the very least. The reason for that is because when we come to cutting out, it's going to make it more difficult to cut out. If our flick off end, the cutting in bit or the cutting out bit is like crossing over, if it's straddling that line. So let's go for like this. Yeah, keeping it all nice and solid and inside there. Let's go around the actual nose off a little bit. Beautiful. Let's keep it on, keep it going. We're going to move down into the mouth next. One thing to do as well when you move down into the mouth is we are going to bring it in with a join it all up together with the nose, with the little line going from there, like that. It's one of the important parts of this character to make it really work. Okay, let's go around it. Still using that kind of double lining technique, just going over it twice to get your line work just right. So if you get it slightly wrong, you can just go over it again. So like just there, I need the line to be on the inside of the mouth. Just down the bottom there, I need the line to be on the outside of the mouth. Same over here, outside of the mouth. So you can always thicken that line from the inside or the outside, doesn't matter. Now watch this, when we go around these teeth, see how tidy it's going to make these teeth look when we go around those. See how that fat black line just tidies up all that stuff that was a little bit messy. All those bits where we didn't quite get into the gaps all now sit behind these black lines. These black lines will just come and save you all the time. So I think this is one of the reasons why I like drawing with fat black lines, is because it just makes your drawing a lot more stress-free. Oh, doing so well, and then that last tooth just messed up. Look, do it again. There we go. Lovely. Let's just go and make those a little bit thicker. Just before it's fully dry, just giving it another coat, either while it's still wet or when it's completely dry. You don't want it to be semi-wet, because there's always a risk that what's going to happen is you're going to just start moving around half dry paint. That's the last thing you want when you're working with Posca pens. Lovely, that looks good. Let's keep it going. Down the bottom there, let's go over these D shapes for the paws. Remember, if you're struggling to get your lines smooth, then get them wonky on purpose. That one, look, you can see where the line, the paint had kind of dried a little bit, and then when I'd gone over it, all it was doing was just shifting that bit of paint around, just creating a bit of a groove that went all the way through that that semi-dry paint. If that ever happens, clean your nib, wait for it to dry, go back when it's dry, finish it all off, okay? Don't try and fix it straight away, just have a bit of patience with it. Okay, let's go and put some 2 lines down there. It's going to help us with the paws. Oh my word, look at that, that was a terrible line. You see that? Went all over the place. And that's it, but that's, you know, just a good example of how you can double line, make stuff like that disappear. Nobody ever needs to know what a bad job you did of that line. What a bad job I did of that line. Lovely. Right, last little bit then. Let's go and do this line down the side. I'm going to zoom out again because this is a nice big line that we've got to do. So let's, sometimes as well, when you're drawing long lines, you might find it easier to have like a practice swing at it first. So rather than starting up here and thinking, right, I'm just going to go for it, rather than doing that, just sort of think, right, my hand is going to be here, and I'm going to start drawing around here. I'm not actually going to touch the paper, but I know when I get to about this point, as I'm coming down there, I know when I get to this point, my hand is kind of falling off the sketchbook, and therefore the stability's gone, and that's where I'm most likely to get a wobble in my line. So yeah, just try changing. Look, I'm going to change my hand position so it's just sitting on the sketchbook, doing it all the way down. It feels like it's just staying on the drawing mat all the way down now. And I think where that's helping is just here, instead of my hand falling off the sketchbook and potentially having a bit of a wobble, that little wobble's out of the equation now, just because just from having that little practice swing. To see where there's the, the potential errors may crop up. Oops. How are we looking? I think that is looking pretty good now. Right, what we're going to do is just going to tidy up a few little bits. There's the two bits to tidy up with the thin pen really are only these two bits at the top. Now you can go and tidy up all of these bits with a thin pen, but we're going to use the colours underneath to practice a little tiny bit of cutting in. So go and grab your 1M, join me up in the ears here. There we go, and we see we've got these like rough like tops in here. Just be careful, this bit's still a little bit wet, so just be careful where you're touching. But essentially you just want to take those lines, turn them into the real sharp point like that. That looks alright. Let's do something similar on the other side. There we go. It's close enough. Not quite as sharp. That one's not quite as sharp as that one, but let's not get too hung up about that. Right then. Stick with your 1M for a little while longer, because there's one more thing I want us to do with that 1M before we go start doing some cutting in. And that is around this line that joins the nose to the mouth. All we're going to do is just curl around these, just soften off those corners. Let's just curl around there, little curl around there. There we go, that's all it needs. Just tidies it up a little bit. Okay, now let's go and grab those colours. What we're going to do is we're going to grab each colour where we've got a dodgy black line. So up here we've got a dodgy black line in this green, this light green. So go and grab your light green. Let's just brush off that little bit of pilling there. Dodgy green, what we can do is just end that line just there. Look. Sharpens it off really nicely. You might need to give it another coat. If you do need to give it another coat, try to resist the temptation to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strokes on there, because by the time you get to like your third stroke across there, what you're actually doing is you're not laying down more paint or more opacity. What you're doing is that you're then starting to dilute the black underneath. That's when things get muddy and messy. So give it 1 stroke, 2 strokes like I just did, let it dry. It's not perfect, but we're on our way. And it's worth remembering, anytime you're doing any Posca artwork, you're not aiming for it to be perfect straight away. It's just a slow process to slowly get there, okay? Okay, next line down here. This is a light blue line, so I've got my light blue pen. See how it's all a bit dodgy down the side there? Maybe you like that look. Maybe that looks like the edge of a brushed eyebrow. I don't know. I'm just going to chop it off like that, really sharp. Remember in here how I just overdid the corners there, went a little bit bigger than I really needed to. The reason I did that was because it just makes it easier to chop it out. Do that side as well. Look. And even on there, look, you can see when I've chopped out that with that blue, I might still have to cut out with or cut in with the black afterwards one more time, just to bring that black line back to the front. Just chop the end off there, look, 1 stroke, that's all it needed, nice and sharp, beautiful. Next colour down was sky blue. You'll get used to what all these colours are. For this one, let's taper this one off. So rather than just cutting out like we've done on the top there, let's try tapering this one off. And when I mean taper, like this, just tapering it from a sharp end like that. Look at that side compared to that side. You can always just chop that end off just to see which side you prefer, what style you prefer. I'm really liking that tapered end, so I'm going to try and do that over that side as well. That's looking nice. Beautiful. One more little bit of tapering him, cutting him, cutting out. I never know what to call it. One more bit down the bottom here. Let's get into the feet. Grab that red. These lines down the bottom. I've seen people drawing these characters and turning these lines into like real big triangles. I don't think they need to be triangles. They're just little lines that separate the paws or the toes. So they just need to be really thin and tapered at the top. Again, look, my red is not particularly opaque. So let's just try and do this side as well. Give it a coat. You might not get it right, you might not nail it first time, but just give it a coat, knowing that you'll come back and tidy it up a little bit later. How are we looking? This is starting to look more like one of the Minhau pieces. Now you might want to taper these parts of the eyebrows off. You might want to put some pink on the inner ears, that kind of stuff. It's really over to you to kind of do whatever you want to do with this to personalize it and make it a bit more yours. Right, work with me here. What we're going to do is we're going to add some extra little bits that we can taper out that are going to make this look a little bit more interesting. So for example, just here in the mouth, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line, a black line there, because this mouth is quite stretched out. I'm going to draw a black curve around each edge of the mouth, just to make it look like there's a little fold of skin in there. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to make sure that the black line starts and finishes inside the sky blue area, starts and finishes inside this lilac violet area. Okay, so like this. And the reason I do that is so that when we come to cutting him, it's going to be nice and easy to keep that tidy. So there you go. Let's just put those in there. That looks nice. Let's do a little bit more tidying up. Remember that little bit that we had in the eye? Said I was going to bring that black back to the front. That's all it is. That's all you need. Something as simple as that. Just bringing those lines back to the front. Just up there in there, top of that eyebrow, remember that green? I wasn't particularly happy with that green, the way it went over that black line. So let's just go and give that another coat. Just one stripe, leave it to dry. Even if it's not working, leave it to dry. You want to be thinking more like a painter and decorator sometimes when you're doing Posca artwork. Okay, let's go into the paws down the bottom here, the paws. We can start putting another little layer of red on there. That is already looking a lot better, isn't it? Those lines are coming out a lot sharper. And you might get to a point where actually you know, there's certain things you like, you want to give everything a second coat, you want to put some extra lines in, mix it up, try something different. Okay, we're doing good. We're going to leave these black lines here to dry just a little bit longer. While that's drying, let's just go and put some stuff around the outside of this dog. First of all, let's go and whack a great big street art crown on it, because I love a street art crown. Let's do that. Street art crown is just a way of saying you're the boss. So if you're happy with your artwork, you want to be the boss of your domain, your style, go and whack in a street art crown like that. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick with these two warm colours. So stick with the warm colours. Yeah, let's just put a few warm colours around the top here. Look. Don't think about it too much. Just one big, one small. I usually like to clump these together. Look, one big, one small. Let's go and do that again. Let's put 3 together this time, like that. Not much space down the side, so just 2 there. Let's put 3 over here. 1 big, medium. That medium is a horrific shape. Big, medium, small. Some down there as well. Let's keep it going. Let's put some more in. These are looking nice. I always find when you're doing spots like this, they tend to look a little bit better if you clump them together. Clump them together in 2s and 3s, different sizes. There we go. And then you will get to a point where you're actually thinking, right, I'm pretty much done, everything's in the right place, so you can just throw in a few little single spots on their own. I'm liking that. Let's go and chop out the edge of that mouth. Remember those lines that we put in. Anytime you're doing this, you just want to remember which lines you put in, where you put them, so that you can go and cut them out again later. There we go. See how we're just cutting on the outside there. Shouldn't look too bad when it dries. Just might take a little bit longer to dry. There we go. Nailed that first time. It's always quite satisfying as well when you're doing this cutting in technique, when you nail it first time. That blue just makes that black disappear with one nice easy stroke. Okay, let's wrap this up then. Let's wrap it up with a few little whiskers. A few little whiskers like that. You could flick a pen across the page if you wanted to for your whiskers. Personally, I prefer just the little dots like that. One colour that we didn't use, so I didn't pick out for you right at the start of the session, was a little bit of white, but it's always worth having a white working and handy, just so that you can... How's that? Is that too small? That's probably a little bit too small. Little white dot in the eyes. Look how it just brings that character alive by putting that little white dot in the eye. Lovely stuff. Let's go and sign it. And there we have it, a little Korp dog inspired by the work of Minhau. Right, hope you enjoyed that session. Thank you very much for taking part. Share your artwork with me. Love to see what you've done with it, especially if you've taken some risks, even if they've not all worked out for you. Let me see it so I can help you and give you a little bit of feedback. But yeah, thanks a lot for taking part. I'll see you in the next video.